Alright, so number 28. If I threw a ball at a rate of 32 feet per second straight up from my window, how long would it take to hit the ground? Remember, h of 0 is 16 feet because that's what we said my window height was about. We're throwing it straight up, so it's positive, not negative, 32 feet per second. Our measurements are in feet, so gravity will tell us that gravity is also 32 feet per second, or per second squared. And that should be enough for me to figure out a lot of information. So how long would it take to hit the ground? How high would it go? When will it reach that height? Those are generally the three questions I'm going to ask you. And then graph it. So to do all those, let's graph it first. So h of t is equal to -1/2 times gravity times time squared plus my initial velocity times time plus my initial height. Plugging in all the values I know, I get -1/2 times 32 feet per second squared times t squared plus, I was throwing it upward, 32 feet per second times time plus my initial height of 16 feet. This simplifies to -16 t squared plus 32t plus 16. So you'll notice, you seem to, when you're in feet, you always end up with -16 as that first number, because -1/2 times 32 is always -16. And if you were in meters, you'd always end up with -4.9, because that's half of 9.8 meters per second. Alright, so that's my height, and I want to complete the square. So I'm going to divide everything by -16. T squared minus 2t plus 1. Subtract 1 from both sides to get my c value to be 0. So now I have t squared minus 2t equals -1 plus the height with respect to time over -16. Ready to complete the square, plus what? Plus what? -2 halved, and then squared gives me +1. So add 1 to both sides. You'll notice 1 minus 1 is 0, which is convenient. So I have h of t over -16 is equal to t minus 1, which is half of b, squared. Now I just got to get h of t alone by multiplying both sides by -16. And that's my equation. I know my vertex to be at 1, 0, and my a value is -16. So 1, 0, this does make sense. Why would it be 1, 0? Let's see. I see what happened. When I divide everything by -16, this should have been a -1 there, not a +1. So I should have added 1 to both sides, which would have left me with 2 on this side. And so then I would have subtracted 2. So let me add a step over here. So this is why writing out steps is good, because you can start to debug. If you didn't have all the steps, it would have been really hard for me to see where my error was. So let me slide this down, and I'll slide a step in between. So I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. So now I have h of t over -16 is equal to t minus 1 squared minus 2. So now I multiply both sides by -16, and so I end up with a plus 32 here. And so my vertex is at 132. 132. So let's graph that. Again, I don't have enough spaces here. I only have 12. So what if I made every one 3? So this would be 6, 12. 12, 18, 24, 30, 36. So at 1, 32 would be about here. And I know the jump value is negative 16, because that's my A value. So I go right 1, down 16, roughly there, and on the same side there. So that's right where I started from, right? I started at the height of 16, I threw it upward, and then it came back down, and now the question is, well, where does it hit the ground? So right 1, down 48, because 3 times 16. And so I started 16, down 48 from 16, lands me at negative 32, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30, 32. And symmetric over here. So can't quite see where it hits the axis, but I do know it's got to be between 2 and 3. So let's hope my answer reflects that. So let's find it algebraically. So first question, let's answer the questions. How high would it go? Well, it goes up to 32 feet per second, because that is my vertex. When does it get there? Again, my vertex value is 1, at 1 second it gets to 32. At 1 second. So obviously this is 1 second. Now how long would it take to hit the ground? That's generally the one where my vertex form serves me the best. So I'll work over here. So I have negative 16 t minus 1 squared plus 32, and that must equal 0, because that's when the height is 0, is when it hits the ground. So subtract 32 from both sides. Negative 16 t minus 1 squared equals negative 32. So I'm going to divide by negative 16. And I get t minus 1 squared equals 2. Getting the squared quantity alone, I'll take the square root of both sides. And I get t minus 1 equals plus and minus the square root of 2, which is roughly 1.4. And so then I know that t must be 1 plus and minus square root of 2, which is roughly 2.43. Sorry, 2.42. 2.4 or 2.41. 2.41. So after 2.41 seconds, it hits the ground. And if I look at that 1 second, 2 second, yeah, I could see that being about 2.4. So when does it hit the ground? After 2.41 seconds, approximately.